Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, the Blitz, and in today's video, we will be taking a look at the Tier 8 Blitz Nation medium tank, the Fixer, which is obviously based off the Super Pershing. It's normal to get tech tree tanks that are then turned into premiums, like the 50TP. It's weird to see a premium tank based off of another premium tank, but that is exactly what the Fixer has going for it. In today's video, we are going to compare the armor profile between the Super Pershing and Fixer, and we're also going to be comparing the stats before we break into the gameplay. So let us start off with the actual armor of the Fixer, because normally I like to go over the statistics, but I feel like when it comes to a tank like this, the armor is really the most important part, and I gotta be honest, I'm quite disappointed with the armor. Like, I expected this tank to be better than it was. After my first two games, I'm kind of really disappointed. Like, the upper plate on the Fixer is amazing. It's 303 millimeters thick, and even though the lower plate is a lot worse than the base of the Super Pershing, we can see the Super Pershing's lower plate ranges from 200 to about 210 thick, and the upper plate's actually a lot weaker than the Fixer's. The main problem with the Fixer is just the turret has the same major weaknesses that the Super Pershings has. It doesn't matter how good you make the hull armor when you have these massive hatches and weak spots all over the turret that completely negate your armor. Like, sure, you'll probably get a couple troll bounces when people shoot at your turret, but let's be real. This tank's armor profile is designed to be hull down. It's designed so that you're hiding your lower plate and you're using the vehicle hull down. Any player that understands where to shoot this tank is just going to shoot it anywhere here, and they're going to cut directly through the armor. I personally would much rather have an armored turret than an armored hull at this point, because the Super Pershing's turret just doesn't really work. So that's what I'll say. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that this vehicle still features the same weaknesses that a tank released back in like 2017 features. That's my opinion on it, but it's definitely something I think should be at least a little bit stronger. Now, we're going to take a look at the statistics of the Fixer versus the Super Pershing here, and we're going to see what it's got going for it. So, DPM-wise, it's a bit worse, but that's actually fair, because we can see the alpha is 310 versus the 225. Personally, I'm a big fan of alpha damage, so even though the Fixer's gun is a bit worse on pen, not only on the standard, but also on the premium, it's still plenty. 254 on heat, especially because I'm running Cali. We can get it up to 280. That's fine. It's got plenty of pen overall. It's a pretty good gun, especially when we take a look at the fact that this thing has 310 alpha and better aiming time than the Super Pershing. So that part's great. Features the same dispersion and actually a teeny bit better on movement dispersion. So overall, the gun is just flat better than the base Super Pershing. It does feature one less degree of gun depression, but nothing you should have to worry about. 9 or 10 degrees is still plenty to work any ridgeline with. Mobility-wise, the tank is quite a bit better. Even though on power to weight it says the effective power to weight is worse than the Super Pershing, I don't think that's fully true just because this vehicle has literally double the engine power. If you're ever driving, you just feel like you're more mobile with the Fixer, especially when it comes to your traverse speed being about 10% better. It's just a more mobile tank, which is nice. I like the mobility, I like the fact that the gun is nicer, and it's got a little bit more HP at 1450 compared to the 1400 that the Super Pershing features. However, as I said, the major problems with the Fixer are that it's a tank that is meant to have armor, and in an ironic twist, it really doesn't have armor. I trust a T-54 Mod 1's armor profile more than the Fixer's, which is weird, but it's honestly true. So, yeah, I don't know. Alright, well here we are in our first battle. Let's see just exactly what we can do. Up against us, we have a bunch of heavies, but we also got a couple mediums like the Prague and the Lorraine 40-ton. Alright, well I'm going to be making my way over towards medium side, and we'll see what we can do. Now the lower plate on this tank is awful, and unfortunately the lower plate is actually the exact same size as the upper plate. So what that means is you got to be very careful when driving this tank not to expose more than you should. So that's the first thing, but we'll see what we can do. You'll notice the power to weight on the tank isn't bad. It can get up to speed, but it's also not a fast tank. It's a Super Pershing at the end of the day, so it's going to be quite slow on its overall power to weight and everything like that. Especially uphill, we can see it's pretty dang slow when it comes to actually climbing. I'm not seeing all too much here as of right now. it's like people don't know where to go on this map. And it's not like it's like, people just don't know where to go on this map. Like, where are their mediums? Mediums should be on Seaside. It's not very challenging to figure this out, yet so many teams struggle. Alright, well, let's see if we can get behind the IS over here. I don't want to be shot by the IS, but apparently we got spotted anyway, so guess it doesn't matter. Alright, well, let's head over this way. We got the T-34 off to the side. I don't want to be shot by that, but I guess, unfortunately, we don't have a choice. Their whole team's camping with heavies. Alright, well, let's go for the Lorraine. There you go. Nice HE into the rear of his vehicle. Sorry, I kind of slurred my words there. But nice shot into that player. Let's reload and bonk. Alright. I mean, the Alpha's nice, I do have to say. Being able to roll your opponents for quite a beefy chunk feels very, very good. But then we just literally get corner poked by the same IS and get lit on fire. So, yeah, so far, I gotta be real, I don't know. I've never really understood the full point of the Super Pershing when the gun doesn't really do all too much. Alright, well, let's keep on going over here. Prague is going to poke me, would be my guess, and unfortunately the on-movement dispersion of this tank is worse than the majority of heavies, so because of that, it doesn't really work all too well. Alright, let's go for a shell into the Prague. He is bouncing me, which is actually quite nice to be real. Let's reload here again. Nice, another nice bounce, and bonk. Alright, we got nice pens into that player. Now we got the Helsing over here. He does shoot my teammate, which allows me to drive on up. Let's see if we can get a shell into the Helsing. There you go, nice 347 slap. And with that, I'm hoping our T-34, yes, finishes off our opponent. Okay, well, not a bad situation so far. We have been able to get this gun to work, but, of course, the Shark is actually tunneling me over the, Type 57. I mean, he can do that all he wants, because at the end of the day, he's got less health than us now. He's literally just throwing his tank away. Alright, well, you do that. I've got more DPM than you, which is quite nice. I'll out-reload you there. Just going to push you here. You shoot a 4 damage HE. Doesn't that just resonate skill? I always question what goes through players' minds, and that was a very questionative moment there. But we're doing okay. You can see that the gun is nice. I do like the Alpha. And, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad tank. It's definitely not a bad tank. The gun is nice, and we can see that the turret will get some bounces here and there, but he did shoot me directly in the center, so that does kind of make sense. We've dealt over 3,000 damage at this point. We're going to reload again here, get another nice slap in for 280, and, yeah, not a bad first game. 3,200-ish damage. We actually won, which I'm kind of surprised about. I was being a bit of a Debbie Downer in the beginning parts of this battle just because it looked like our team was completely falling apart. But actually, they did okay, and we blocked 1,700 damage. So you can see the armor will work in some situations. Against players that don't aim, this tank's gonna be great. I mean, that Progetto, for example, was just slinging shells at me because he thought he could. And in that situation, the armor on this vehicle is going to be great. It doesn't matter how much premium pen you have as a tier 8 or even some tier 9s. Shooting at the upper plate of this tank will get you bounces all the time. Because of that, you have to actually aim either at the roof of the turret or the lower plate. If you're just going to load premium and expect a pen, that's obviously not going to be the case. And as I said, I like the gun, but on movement dispersion wise, all the gun handling aspects of this vehicle, even though they are better than the base Super Pershing, something I should say is that the base Super Pershing has some of the worst gun handling, like in tier 8 for a medium. So even though the gun handling is better than the Super Pershing, it's still not great. Alright, here we are. Second game up against us. We got a Defender Mark 1, T-34. I mean, medium-wise, they only have 3, which I guess is a decent chunk, but not the deadliest thing ever. Alright, well, I don't really know where to drive this tank on medium side. The problem with the Super Pershing is it's not really a medium, it's kind of a heavy, but it's also not really a heavy because it doesn't have turret armor like heavies kind of want. So, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to make our way up to base C. I think this is a decent thing to do. You can notice here the not so great power to weight of the vehicle. I mean, we're averaging about 25 kilometers per hour, which is better than a heavy. I will admit that. It's quite a bit more mobile than a heavy, but apart from that, it's not the fastest tank ever. Alright, well, let's make our way into the front line and see what we can do. There is a SU-122, which obviously the on-movement dispersion was never going to allow me to hit. We also got a CS-52 over here who went right through my tank. And he went right through the hull armor. This thing is quite tall, which is actually more of a downside than an upside. That is one of the big old downsides of American tanks, is just how dang large they are. But we got a nice shell into that SU-122. My SU-101 is just going to send it, and he gets away with it. I'm very, very surprised he did. Alright, well, nice shell into the CS-52, and with that, we're doing okay. We're already up to 1,000 damage, which is not bad at all. We got the defender all the way off to the front over here, so that's exactly what we're going to go towards. We're going to shoot at the Scorpion, and look at that. We hit that on the move. That was very, very lucky, I'll be completely honest. So at this point, we got the defender, and we're going to get one big ol' slap into his tank. Again, the alpha on this tank is great. Anything that has good alpha damage feels amazing, and that is exactly what you're going to get with the Super Pershing. Now, unfortunately, we just bled about 700 health due to the camping T-34 paired with the Defender Mark 1. So, unfortunate for me, we got the T-34 poking, and we can see the aiming time on the vehicle is quite nice. T-34 is a very inaccurate gun, missed us, which is good. Alright, couple more seconds left. We'll have another shell for the T-34, and a bonk. There you go. Nice 388 roll into his vehicle. Reloading again. A 3, a 2, a 1, and let's go for a bonk into his turret. Nice. Alright, well, not a bad result at all. 2840 damage, and even though we didn't break the 3K mark, I can't really say too much bad about the vehicle. At the end of the day, it's a better Super Pershing. It's not better in every way. The reverse speed is worse, and the gun itself has worse DPM. So it's not flat better than the Super Pershing. But because of the fact the vehicle has more alpha, because of the fact the vehicle has more mobility, and the fact that its upper plate is way better, I still have to say, overall, it's still a better Super Pershing. It's not the best tank ever, though. I can definitely say in terms of Tier 8, it's not a super strong vehicle. There are Tier 8s. Heck, I think the Titan 54D is kind of just a lot better than the Super Pershing. So, yeah, it's okay. There's nothing crazy about it. At the end of the day, if you get it and you don't like it, it's a free 1,000 gold. So, yeah, hopefully enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.